The USA Gymnastics sex abuse scandal relates to the sexual abuse of female athletes, primarily minors at the time of the abuse, over 2 decades in the United States, starting in the late 1990s. More than 368 people alleged that they were sexually assaulted by gym owners, coaches, and staff working for gymnastics programs across the country. Particularly, longtime USA Gymnastics (USAG) national team Dr. Larry Nassar has been named in hundreds of lawsuits filed by athletes who said that Nassar engaged in sexual abuse for at least 14 years under the pretense of providing medical treatment. Since the scandal was first reported by the Indianapolis Star in September 2016, more than 265 women, including former USAG national team members Jessica Howard, Jamie Dancer, Morgan White, Jeanette Antolin, Michaela Maroney, Ailey Reisman, Maggie Nichols, Gabby Douglas, Simone Biles, Jordan Weber, Sabrina Vega, Ashton Locklear, Kyla Ross, Madison Cusson, Amanda Gedert, Tasha Schwickert, Maddie Larson, Bailey Key, Kennedy Baker, Alyssa Bauman, and Taryn Humphrey have accused Nassar of sexually assaulting them. It is one of the largest sexual abuse scandals in sports history. On July 11, 2017, Nassar pleaded guilty to federal child pornography charges, and was sentenced to 60 years in prison on December 7, 2017. On November 22, 2017, he pleaded guilty in state court to 7 charges of first-degree sexual assault and entered another guilty plea a week later to 3 additional charges of sexual assault. On January 24, 2018, Nassar was sentenced to an additional 40 to 175 years in prison, set to run after Nassar serves the 60-year federal prison sentence for child pornography. On February 5, 2018, Nassar received another 40 to 125 years. As of 2019, he is incarcerated at United States Penitentiary, Coleman. An investigation by the Indianapolis Star over a period of 9 months found that the abuses were widespread because predatory coaches were allowed to move from gym to gym, undetected by a lax system of oversight, or dangerously passed on by USA Gymnastics certified gyms. USAG and Michigan State University, where Nassar worked as its osteopathic physician, have been accused of enabling Nassar's abuse and are named as defendants in civil lawsuits that former gymnasts have filed against Nassar. Besides Nassar, other coaches were involved in the scandal in Michigan, Pennsylvania, California, Rhode Island, Indiana and elsewhere. On May 16, 2018, it was announced that the victims would be awarded the Arthur Ashe Courage Award. On December 13 that year, the National Collegiate Athletic Association (NCAA) awarded Nichols, the first person to have reported Nassar, though not the first to go public with her report, the Inspiration Award for 2019. Background: in 1990, USAG compiled a list of permanently banned coaches, including coaches banned for sexual abuse. In 1992, Robert Dean Head, a USAG coach in Kentucky, pled guilty to raping a 12-year-old. In 2007, USAG made background checks mandatory for all coaches. Don Peters, the national coach for the 1984 Olympic team, was banned from USAG in 2011, after 2 former gymnasts accused him of sexual abuse. In 2016, Olympic team Dr. Larry Nassar was arrested on charges of sex abuse and possession of child pornography. Multiple victims of sexual abuse have filed lawsuits against USAG and other parties. In several incidents, USAG dismissed warnings about coaches. In a 2013 lawsuit, USAG officials admitted under oath that allegations of sexual abuse were routinely dismissed as hearsay unless they came directly from a victim or victim's parent. USAG waited for 4 years before reporting Marvin Sharp to the police. Sharp was named USAG coach in 2010. In 2015, he was charged with 3 counts of child molestation and 4 counts of sexual misconduct with a minor. He was charged and committed suicide in prison. Gymnastic coach Mark Schiefelbein was charged in 2002 for molesting a 10-year-old girl. After prosecutors subpoenaed records, they learned that USAG had received prior complaints against Schiefelbein, who was convicted and is serving a 36-year sentence. A complaint had been filed about James Bell at least 5 years before he was arrested in 2003 for molesting 3 young gymnasts. Bell pleaded guilty and is serving 8 years in prison. At least 4 complaints were made against Georgia coach William McCabe, but USAG did not report the allegations to the police. One gym owner had warned that McCabe should be locked in a cage before someone is raped. McCabe continued coaching for 7 years until one gymnast's mother went to the FBI with emails that he had sent to her 11-year-old daughter. McCabe was charged with molesting gymnasts, secretly videotaping girls changing clothes, and posting their nude images on the internet. He pleaded guilty and is serving a 30-year sentence. A judge released over 5,600 pages of court records in the McCabe case after Marissa Kwiatkowski from the Indianapolis Star requested the documents. These documents show how USAG has responded to various sexual misconduct allegations that were made against coaches over a 10-year period from 1996 to 2006. The released documents included a letter which says USAG regional chairman spoke to the organization's president in support of allowing a convicted sex offender to keep his membership. Other documents include sexual abuse complaints that were filed against 54 coaches. The documents revealed that some of these coaches were not banned from the sport even after being convicted of the crimes. USAG has since said that it has banned 37 of the 54 coaches. In a deposition, USAG President Steve Penny said, "To the best of my knowledge, there's no duty to report if you are a third party to some allegation, that lies with the person who has first-hand knowledge." Penny resigned in March 2017. Nasser was a licensed osteopathic physician and the national team sports medicine doctor for USAG. He ran a clinic and gymnastics club at Michigan State University, where he was a faculty member. USAG fired Nasser in 2015 after learning of athlete concerns. Sexual abuse allegations. In September 2016, the Indianapolis Star reported that Rachel Denhollander was one of 2 former gymnasts who had made accusations of sexual abuse against Nasser. Following those criminal complaints, Michigan State University reassigned Nasser from his clinical and teaching duties and fired him later that month. Since then, over 250 women and girls have accused Nasser of sexually abusing them. Many of them were minors at the time of the crimes. According to those reports, Nasser committed sexual assaults during medical examinations and purported treatments. The molestations ranged from his inserting a finger into the gymnast's vaginas and anuses to fondling their breasts and genitalia. These were criminal acts regardless of consent since the victims were minors. Nasser initially denied the charges, claiming that he was performing legitimate medical procedures. In February 2017, 3 former gymnasts, Jeanette Antolin, Jessica Howard and Jamie Dancer, gave an interview with 60 Minutes in which they accused Nasser of sexually abusing them. The gymnasts also alleged that the emotionally abusive environment at the national team training camps run by Bela and Marta Karolyi at the Karolyi Ranch near Huntsville, Texas, gave Nasser an opportunity to take advantage of the gymnasts and made them afraid to speak up about the abuse. Rachel Denhollander, one of the first women to publicly accuse Nasser, said in court in May 2017 that Nasser sexually abused her on 5 doctor's visits in 2000 when she was 15 years old. Olympic gold medalist Michael Maroney, using the #MeToo hashtag on Twitter, stated that Nasser repeatedly molested her, starting in 2008 when she was 13 years old and continuing until she retired from the sport in 2016. Maroney filed a lawsuit against Nasser, Michigan State University, the United States Olympic Committee and USAG. The lawsuit accused USAG of covering up the sexual abuse by paying Maroney $1.25 million settlement that required her to sign a non-disclosure agreement. During a 60 Minutes interview, Olympic gold medalist Ailey Reisman also accused Nasser of sexually abusing her. Reisman stated that Nasser molested her when she was 15 years of age. Gabby Douglas drew criticism from fellow Olympic teammate Simone Biles and others for sending a tweet that they interpreted as criticizing Reisman and of victim shaming, stating that dressing in a provocative sexual way incites the wrong crowd. Douglas later apologized for the tweet and said she was also a victim of Nasser's abuse. Former national team member Maggie Nichols accused Nasser of abusing her, and documented the ways he groomed her by connecting with her on Facebook and complimenting her appearance on numerous occasions. It was also reported that it was Nichols' coach, Sarah Jancy, who first reported Nasser to USAG on June 17, 2015, after overhearing Nichols talk to other gymnasts, later revealed to be Reisman and Alyssa Bauman, about Nasser's behavior. Simone Biles came forward shortly after with first-hand accounts of how she too had been sexually abused by Nasser. Jordan Weber made a statement at Nasser's court sentencing in which she also accused Nasser of sexually abusing her during her time at USAG. On May 1, 2018, former national team member Sabrina Vega also accused Nasser of sexual abuse, claiming she was abused hundreds of times, beginning when she was 12. In August 2018, UCLA gymnasts and 2012 and 2016 Olympians Kyla Ross and Madison Cusson came forward as victims of Nasser. The following month, Alabama Crimson Tide gymnasts Bailey Key and Amanda Gedert also came forward with accusations against Nasser. In October, Tasha Schwickert, a member of the 2000 microsecond Olympics team, came forward as a victim and claimed that Steve Penny pressed her to publicly support USA Gymnastics at the height of the Nasser scandal. In November, Florida Gators gymnast Kennedy Baker and Bauman made public allegations against Nasser. Baker said she was abused during the 2012 Olympic trials. Criminal proceedings. Larry Nassar. In November 2016, Nasser was initially charged with sexual assault of a child. Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette stated that the assault began when the victim was 6 years old in 1998 and lasted until 2005. He pleaded not guilty to 3 charges of first-degree criminal sexual conduct against a minor during his first court appearance. The following month, Nasser was indicted on federal child pornography charges. According to the FBI, over 37,000 images and videos of child pornography were seized from Nasser's home, including a GoPro video of Nasser molesting girls in a swimming pool. Some of the material was found on a hard drive and disks that Nasser discarded in his trash bin outside his home. Nasser pleaded guilty to 3 federal child pornography charges on July 11, 2017, and was given 3 consecutive 20-year prison sentences by U.S. District Judge Janet T. Neff on December 7, 2017. On November 15, 2017, it was reported that Nasser pleaded guilty to counts of sexual assault in Ingham County, which contains most of East Lansing, the home city for Michigan State, and Eaton County in Michigan. At the time, he faced a total of 22 charges, 15 in Ingham and 7 in Eaton. Among the allegations was that under the guise of providing legitimate treatment, he molested 7 girls at his home and at a clinic on the MSU campus. It also stated that Nasser would enter a guilty plea in Ingham County on November 22 and would then plead guilty in Eaton County on November 29 and would serve at least 25 years in prison for these crimes. Others who reported assaults by Nasser to the police were permitted to make victim impact statements during his sentencing hearing. During his appearance before Judge Rosemary Aquilina in Ingham County Circuit Court, and under the terms of his plea agreement, Nasser pleaded guilty to 7 counts of criminal sexual conduct charges with a minimum sentence of 25 to 40 years in prison. 3 of the victims were under the age of 13 and 3 ranged in age from 13 to 15. Nasser issued a short statement in which he apologized and said that he was hopeful the community could move forward. "For all those involved, I'm so horribly sorry that this was like a match that turned into a forest fire out of control. I have no animosity toward anyone. I just want healing. We need to move forward in a sense of growth and healing, and I pray for that." More than 150 women made impact statements during Nassar's week-long sentencing hearing before the former doctor was sentenced on January 24, 2018 to state prison for 40 to 175 years. During his federal sentencing, Judge Neff had previously ordered that any state prison term run consecutive with Nassar's federal sentence. Judge Aquilina quoted a letter that Nassar had sent her prior to sentencing, in which he blamed his accusers. She described him as a dangerous individual who showed little remorse and said that she signed his death warrant. During his Eaton County Circuit Court appearance, Nassar pleaded guilty to engaging in sexual misconduct with 3 children under the age of 16. On February 5, 2018, Judge Janet Cunningham sentenced Nassar to an additional 40 to 125 years in state prison. The sentence will run consecutive to Nassar's federal sentence but concurrent to his previous state sentence from Ingham County. Steve Penny. On October 17, 2018, former USAG CEO Steve Penny was arrested on charge of evidence tampering in the Larry Nassar case. He was accused of removing documents linked to the Nassar sexual abuse case from the Crowley Ranch Gymnastics training facility in Texas. On October 29, 2018, Penny entered a plea of not guilty. Luana Simon. On November 20, 2018, former Michigan State University President Luana Simon was charged with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanor counts for lying to the police. She is accused of falsely telling investigators she did not know the nature of a Title IX complaint against Nassar in 2014. She could face up to 4 years in prison on each felony charge. On October 29, 2019, Eaton County District Court Judge Julie Reinke ruled there was sufficient evidence to bind Simon over for trial in Eaton County Circuit Court. On May 13, 2020, Eaton County Judge John Maurer dismissed the charges against Simon. The Michigan Attorney General's office said it planned to appeal. Kathy Glagas. In August 2018, Kathy Glagas, a former Michigan State University gymnastics coach, was charged with 1 felony count and 1 misdemeanor count of lying to the police about her early knowledge of sexual abuse allegations against Nassar. Her trial began in February 2020. She was found guilty on 2 counts of lying to the police and faces up to 4 years in prison. Her sentencing was set for April 18, 2020, but was rescheduled to July 15 of that year. However, the sentencing was once again delayed due to a water main break near the courthouse. On August 4, Glagas was sentenced to 90 days in jail and 18 months of probation. John Gedert. On February 25, 2021, John Gedert, the head coach of the 2012 USA Women's Olympic Gymnastics team, was charged with multiple felonies including 20 counts of human trafficking and forced labor, 1 count of first-degree sexual assault, 1 count of second-degree sexual assault, racketeering and lying to a police officer. Gedert committed suicide shortly after his charges were announced to the public. Response and impact. USA Gymnastics. With regard to the USA Gymnastics sex abuse scandal, in 2016 USAG stated that, "Nothing is more important to USA Gymnastics, the board of directors and CEO Steve Penny, than protecting athletes, which requires sustained vigilance by everyone, coaches, athletes, parents, administrators and officials. We are saddened when any athlete has been harmed in the course of his or her gymnastics career." The USAG also said that it required criminal background checks for all of its coaches. An independent investigation by the Indianapolis Star, however, found that some coaches are fired at gym after gym without being tracked or flagged by USA Gymnastics, or losing their membership with the organization. Specifically with regard to Nasser, USA Gymnastics, USAG, said that its executives first learned of an athlete's concern regarding him in June 2015. Following an internal investigation, Nasser was fired and reported to the FBI the next month. In March 2017, USAG President Steve Penny resigned amid accusations of negligence and calls for his dismissal. In response to the scandal, USAG adopted reforms based on a June 2017 report by an investigator hired to review the organization's policies and practices. One of the changes is a requirement that all USAG members report any suspected sexual misconduct to appropriate authorities, and the U.S. Center for Safe Sport. USAG has been criticized for its handling of the sexual abuse allegations against Nasser. According to a 2016 investigation reported by the Indianapolis Star, top executives at USAG routinely dismissed sexual abuse allegations against coaches and failed to alert authorities. United States senators criticized the organization's leadership for waiting 5 weeks before reporting Nasser to law enforcement, after hearing allegations involving him in 2015. Juliet Mocker of the New York Times was critical of USAG for not attending the 2017 congressional hearing on protecting young athletes from sexual abuse, and noted that the organization had not apologized for its role in the scandal. The two-time Olympian Ailey Reisman criticized USAG's response to the scandal, noting that the reported $1 million severance package given to former President Penny could have been used to create a program to help the affected athletes. Amid the sex abuse scandal, USAG lost several major corporate sponsors, including Procter & Gamble, Kellogg's, Under Armour, the Hershey Company, and AT&T. Procter & Gamble was the name sponsor of the national championships for 5 seasons, AT&T sponsored the American Cup since 2011, and Kellogg's sponsored a series of nationwide tours. Marketing revenues account for approximately 35% of USAG annual revenues, or about $9.4 million. Kellogg's and Procter & Gamble were two of the largest sponsors associated with the organization. These actions, however, impacted and damaged the athletes, who lost necessary funding to a larger extent compared to the organization. In January 2018, USAG officially cut ties with Karolyi Ranch, the former national training center for the national team and a site where Nasser sexually assaulted many gymnasts. Later that month, the Karolyi Ranch announced on its website that the facility had permanently closed. On January 22, 2018, 3 members of the USAG Board of Directors resigned. Following Nasser's sentencing on January 24, 2018, the United States Olympic Committee (USOC) published an open letter calling for the resignations of the remaining USAG Board of Directors, saying that failure to comply with the request would result in the USOC taking steps to decertify the governing body. The USOC also announced that it was launching a third-party investigation into the scandal. On January 31, USAG received resignations from every member of its board of directors, complying with USOC's demands. On February 1, it was reported that the USOC had been informed of abuse claims in 2015, prior to when they claimed they first heard it in 2016. Reports surfaced that USAG President Steve Penny had called USOC Chief Executive Scott Blackmun in July 2015 to inform him that an investigation uncovered possible criminal behavior by Nasser against Olympic athletes. Additionally, in September 2015, Penny emailed USOC security chief detailing the allegations against Nasser. John Gedert, team coach of the 2012 London Olympic team and personal coach of Jordan Weber, retired following an announcement by USAG that he had been suspended as a result of his connection to Nasser. Gedert operated 2 gyms that employed Nasser, including Twisters. Ownership of Twisters has been transferred to Gedert's wife Catherine. Gymnasts have reported being abused by Nasser at Twisters. Gymnasts have also accused Gedert of being abusive and dismissive of their injuries. One gymnast said Gedert had thrown her onto the low bar hard enough to tear the muscles in her stomach and end her career. They have said that Gedert's abuse left them vulnerable to Nasser's manipulation. On February 2, Valerie Lukin resigned as national team coordinator. Later that month, the USOC CEO Scott Blackmun also resigned. On February 28, Resigned filed a lawsuit against USA Gymnastics and the USOC, claiming both organizations knew or should have known about the ongoing abuse. On May 1, former national team member Sabrina Vega sued USAG, the USOC, and Bela and Marta Karolyi, claiming they ignored signs about Nasser's behavior or should have known he posed a risk to the gymnasts he treated. On September 4, USA Gymnastics CEO and President, Kerry resigned. This came after USOC CEO Sarah Hirschland called for a change in USAG leadership and the United States Elite Coaches Association called for a vote of no confidence in Perry. On October 12, Mary Bono was appointed interim president and chief executive officer of USA Gymnastics. She resigned 4 days later after many people, including Reisman and Biles, expressed criticism over choosing Bono as interim president due to her ties with her former law firm, Felger Baker Daniels, the same firm that helped cover up Nasser's crimes. On November 5, 2018, the USOC announced that it was starting the process to decertify USAG as the national governing body for gymnastics in the United States. 1 month later, USAG filed for bankruptcy. On February 29, 2020, gymnast Simone Biles and Ailey Reisman expressed anger over a proposed settlement by the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee in the sexual abuse scandal. The proposed $215 million settlement, half of what MSU paid, will stop all lawsuits and prevent further investigation into the cover-up. Michigan State University said that it first received a complaint against Nasser in 2014. A Title IX investigation into the complaint found no violation of policy and Nasser was allowed to continue treating patients under certain agreed-upon restrictions, as stipulated by MSU College of Osteopathic Medicine Dean William Strample. However, no monitoring was instituted. After allegations against Nasser were reported by the Indianapolis Star in September 2016, Nasser was fired by Michigan State for violating the 2014 agreement. The university faces lawsuits from 144 local and MSU athletes who say they were sexually assaulted by Larry Nasser. Michigan State University gymnastics coach Kathy Klages was suspended on February 13, 2017, and retired the next day, amidst the sexual abuse investigation of Nasser. Klages has been accused of dismissing sexual abuse complaints by former gymnasts against Nasser and pressuring them to stay silent. According to court documents, Klages was reportedly aware of sexual abuse allegations against Nasser as early as 1997. On December 12, 2017, Strample resigned as dean and went on medical leave as faculty. After mediation ended in the civil lawsuits, the MSU Board of Trustees voted to establish a $10 million fund to reimburse Nasser's victims for counseling services. MSU President Luana Simon also apologized to the Nasser victims and donated her just-approved raise to the Roy J. and Luana K. Simon Scholarship Fund. During Nasser's sentencing in January 2018, 8 former MSU athletes, including those from the gymnastics, softball, volleyball, rowing, and track and field programs, gave victim impact statements accusing MSU staff of dismissing their sexual abuse complaints against Nasser. On January 23, 2018, the National Collegiate Athletic Association formally opened an investigation into the university's handling of sexual abuse allegations against Nasser. On January 24, 2018, amid backlash over the university's role in the scandal, The Michigan House of Representatives voted overwhelmingly for a non-binding resolution sponsored by Representative Adam Zemke that called for the university's Board of Trustees to fire President Lou Anna Simon if she did not resign. Simon resigned later that same day. 2 days later, MSU Athletic Director Mark Hollis retired. Several other investigations by state and federal agencies into Michigan State's involvement are ongoing, including by the Michigan Attorney General's Office and the United States Education Department. As a result of the Michigan Attorney General's investigation, in March 2018, William Strample, who oversaw Nassar's clinic while dean of the College of Osteopathic Medicine, was arrested and charged with felony misconduct in office and criminal sexual conduct for allegedly groping a student and storing nude photos on his computer. Strample also possessed a video of the pelvic floor manipulation procedure that Larry Nassar had created as a training video. The video may constitute evidence of an assault, and the investigation is continuing. On June 9, 2018, 6 current or former Michigan State employees linked to Nassar became the subjects of an investigation by Michigan's Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. On May 16, 2018, it was reported that the Michigan State University and Nassar's victims reached a $500 million settlement. United States Congress. The United States Congress responded to the sexual abuse claims made against Nassar and also to claims made against personnel who were involved with USA Swimming and USA Taekwondo. United States Senator Dianne Feinstein introduced a bill to require national governing body members overseeing Olympic sports to immediately report sexual assault allegations to law enforcement or designated child welfare agencies. Former gymnasts Dominique Moceanu, Jamie Dancer and Jessica Howard testified at a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on March 28, 2017, concerning the bill. Rick Adams, Chief of Paralympic Sports for the United States Olympic Committee and Head of Organizational Development for the NGBs, stated at the hearing, "We do take responsibility, and we apologize to any young athlete who has ever faced abuse." USAG was asked to testify at the hearing, but declined. The Protecting Young Victims from Sexual Abuse and Safe Sport Authorization Act of 2017, a bipartisan bill sponsored by Senators Dianne Feinstein, DCA, and John Thune, RSD, and others, was agreed to in the House of Representatives on January 29, 2018. The bill was agreed to in the Senate on January 30, 2018, and became law on February 14, 2018, when it was signed by President Donald J. Trump. Among other things, the law requires Olympic governing bodies and amateur sports organizations to report sex abuse allegations immediately to local or federal law enforcement, or a child welfare agency designated by the United States Department of Justice. It further authorizes the United States Center for Safe Sport to ensure that aspiring U.S. Olympic athletes can report allegations of abuse to an independent and non-conflicted entity for investigation and resolution, and to make sure that all national governing bodies follow the strictest standards for child abuse prevention and detection. The bill amends the Ted Stevens Olympic and Amateur Sports Act, under the Commerce Committee's jurisdiction, to expand the purposes of USOC to promote a safe environment in sports that is free from abuse. See also Athlete A and At the Heart of Gold, 2 documentaries about the Larry Nassar scandal. Penn State child sex abuse scandal, Baylor University sexual assault scandal, 2015 University of Louisville basketball sex scandal, Ohio State University abuse scandal, sexual abuse in primary and secondary schools, United States Center for Safe Sport. Footnotes. References.